Good afternoon. It is roasty toasty here in Texas. I couldn't find a church to have an evening service, so I guess you guys get to listen to me. I went to a new church this morning, dragged a friend along with me. I didn't drag him. He came. He likes it. Um, it was a very small church, maybe about 10 or 12 people. But I was working yesterday. I work at night. I work as a bouncer. And I was thinking that there's a lot of thoughts in my head, and I'm sure you can sympathize, that are not godly thoughts. And they can consume your mind, especially thoughts about what you want, just things in life, ambitions. Right? You got so much ambition, and we're told that ambition is good. And you got so much want for things, and this is largely a part of our consumer society, that your time in life can be spent in wanting. We don't spend time being content. We don't spend time being happy. We only think about what's next, what's more. And life is not about every day, but about many days from hence, or many days in the past if we're anxious people. I'm not a particularly anxious person, but I do have a lot of dreams and goals in my head, and they swirl and they swirl. And if we're not careful, these thoughts can become idols that can take our attention away from a God who deserves them. The Lord deserves our full undivided service every day. And if you're anything like me, God has occupied a place in your life that was on the edge. God was a supplement to life, but he was not life itself. We go to work, and when we're at work, we think about work. We go to the gym, when we're at the gym, we think about the gym. And then we get home and we have our pastimes and our hobbies, and we have our relationships, and all those things take up our time. And then on the end, maybe a morning prayer or a little Bible reading in the morning, that's our time for God. And God is just slivered into our lives, but he doesn't really occupy a place of prominence. And I had to confess that my thoughts were not focused on him. That in every moment, God was not with me. And I mean, of course, it's not possible. That's just part of the human condition. But I think our objective should be, in every moment of every day, to have God only a whisper away from our lips, only a fleeting thought away from our minds. God should be always ready to occupy us so that we may be ready to his instruction. It's not easy to be fully aware of your mind and the thoughts that occur in it. I can say that for my mind, I'm always enveloped in the world of my mind so that I cannot see it from beyond with clear perspective. If I'm in a thought, let's say specifically, I'm thinking about buying a motorcycle. All right, I like motorcycles. Motorcycles are cool. All right, so I got this motorcycle. I want it in my mind. I'm looking on Craigslist. All right, I'm thinking about what kind do I want? Do I want do I want a 4-cylinder? Do I want a V-twin engine? What do I want? And when you're in that cycle, that train of thinking, you can't even step outside of it to think, what does God want me to do today? Or how can I serve the Lord today? Or what in this moment right now, whatever I'm doing besides what I'm thinking about, does God want me to do? And even beyond that, just being open to his communication, having the emptiness, the stillness inside to be receptive to his inclinations. That's a really big difference in the way we live our lives and the way we could live our lives if we had God as more of a universal presence in our life, not just in the beginning of the day or at the end of the day or on Sundays, but throughout the day as we're driving to work, as we're sitting at our desk, as we're talking to strangers, as we're greeting people on the phone or in the street. If we think about the way God sees those things and the way he sees us doing them, then we could really begin to live a life that's guided by him. So that's what I had to talk about. The clarity, the awareness of your mind as it goes throughout its day, and how you can begin to mold and shape your thoughts so that God plays a prominent role in them. So today, let's ask God to give us awareness of our thinking so that in a moment we can take this thought, we can recognize it and say, this isn't a thought that's focused on God. This is a thought that's focused on whatever it's focused on. If it's focused on anger, resentment, greed, ambition, lust, whatever it could be. And you take that thought, and rather than trying to deal with it yourself, sacrifice that thought to God. Go into prayer, have a moment of prayer with the Lord, and ask him to pull these thoughts from you, to refocus your mind, to rededicate yourself. And this can happen several times a day, every day. And it's just a constant process of purifying our mind. So that's something that the Lord spoke to me about. While I was driving to work yesterday, I found myself consumed with a train of thought. And then I had a brief moment where I could break away, and I said, why am I thinking about this? This isn't in line with my plan to serve the Lord or my greater desire to see him work in my life. And that's an important revelation I think we should all have. So today's prayer is going to be about clearing your mind, allowing you to focus on God. Let's pray. Father, I pray these things in Jesus' name. Help me to empty my mind of its impure thoughts, or not even just impure thoughts, any thought that doesn't focus on you. Allow me to clear off the space in my brain so that you can occupy that space. Allow me to be constantly in prayer about everything, praying with you, having a constant discussion with you about my life as it unfolds. Let me make you a part of my goings-on throughout the day consistently. And help me to be aware of my thoughts, a master of the discipline of my mind, so that I may return that mind to your service. I pray these things. Amen. I started saying, I pray these things in Jesus' name at the beginning of prayer, because if you say it at the end, then it sort of makes an official end to that prayer. However, in the Bible it says that we should pray without ceasing. So how can you pray without ceasing if your prayer ever has an end? So I like to begin the prayer with, I pray these things in Jesus' name. That way, it leaves the end of the prayer open in case I want to continue it throughout my day. It's useful. It's useful. God bless. I hope you enjoyed this little Sunday afternoon service. It's a good day. It's a good day to talk to God. Let your thoughts dwell on him.